There are days when we don't need more advice. We just need one reason to rise again. And if that's where you are right now, standing among your wounds, your exhaustion, your quiet failures, then this video is for you. Because Stoic philosophy isn't ancient ink on forgotten pages. It is medicine for the mind, fire for the will, and a small but powerful light that can carry you through your darkest days. In today's video, we'll walk into what Seneca called the art of living, where adversity becomes a training ground for the soul, where fear is dismantled by reason, and where you rediscover that quiet, unshakable strength inside you. If you're seeking encouragement, a mental reset, or simply a place to breathe again, stay with me. Because the wisdom of 2,000 years will show you something simple but profound. You are far stronger than you believe. Hit like, subscribe, and share so you never miss another step on this journey of awakening. Now let's begin. We have a natural inclination to view hardship as a punishment, an injustice of the universe. We say, "Why me?" Seneca and the entire Stoic school smiles and answers, "Because it is your opportunity." The universe is not punishing you. It is testing you. It is trusting you with enough strength to take on a difficult role. Contemplate the first saying, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." This is the foundation. Do you ever wonder why we go to the gym? We go there to intentionally create hardship for the body. We lift heavy weights, fatiguing the muscles, making the heart pound wildly. Why? Because we understand a fundamental rule: without resistance, there is no growth. Muscles only grow when they are challenged to their limits. So why do we expect our mind and spirit millions of times more complex and greater than muscle to grow without resistance? This saying carries an unparalleled educational value. Change your perception of hardship and the difficult boss, the failed project, the painful breakup. This is the gymnasium for your soul. Every time you face anxiety, you are lifting weights for patience. Every time you are criticized, you are training humility and the capacity for self-reflection. Do not evade it. Be grateful for it. It is your training regimen. Continuing that logic, Seneca offers an even more potent image. Fire tests gold. Adversity tests strong men. Crude gold, dug from the earth, is still full of impurities. It does not look beautiful. It is not pure. To become the gleaming, pure gold that we treasure, it must pass through the fire. The fire does not destroy the gold. It refines it. It burns away all that is not gold. Earth, stone, dross, leaving only the purest essence. Adversity is that fire. And you, your essence, are the gold. When you are thrown into the fire of a crisis, loss of work, illness, betrayal, ask yourself, what is being burned? The ephemeral things Your fragile ego, your complacency, your dependence on comforts, your false conceptions of life. What is the educational value here? When the fire flares, do not be afraid. Let it burn. Let it incinerate the unnecessary parts within you. What remains afterward? Courage, resilience, wisdom. That is the pure gold. That is you. Adversity does not create strong men, it reveals them. Seneca deepens this idea with another subtle metaphor. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. If fire serves to refine, then friction serves to perfect. A rough gemstone, however valuable, is still coarse and opaque. Only through the patient process of polishing time and again enduring the painful friction against harder materials does it become lustrous and achieve its perfect beauty. The trials in your life, the petty quarrels, the daily frustrations, the people who vex you, this is precisely that friction. You can be annoyed, you can be angered, you can avoid them. Or you can understand that this is an opportunity to polish your own rough edges. The educational value of this saying is patience with the process. Perfected is not a destination but a continuous process of polishing. The next time you feel friction with a colleague or a family member, take a deep breath and tell yourself, this is an opportunity to be polished. I am learning patience. I am learning empathy. I am becoming more lustrous. But Seneca does not only speak of enduring adversity, he also teaches us to actively train to overcome it. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the cheapest and scantiest fare with coarse clothing, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? This is one of the most practical and powerful Stoic exercises. We do not fear poverty itself, we fear the thought of it. We do not fear failure, we fear the feeling of it. Seneca says, then go and taste it. Proactively live ascetically for a little. Eat the simplest meals, sleep on the floor for a night. Turn off the conveniences, and then ask yourself that potent question. Is this the condition I have feared? Is it truly so terrible? Its educational value is invaluable. It inoculates you against fear. You will realize that you are more resilient than you thought. You will realize that your happiness does not depend on a soft bed or an expensive meal. You master your fear by confronting it, and you realize it is merely a paper tiger. When you no longer fear the worst prospect, you become completely free. Finally, in this group, we confront one of the greatest adversities: Failure. He is a true master of his art, who has failed yet not lost his spirit. We live in a society that idolizes success and conceals failure. But Seneca says failure is not the end point. It is a necessary part of the process of mastery. The art technique here is the art of living technique to biu. Anyone can be cheerful when things go smoothly. Anyone can succeed when fortunate. But the true measure of a person, master, is how they respond when everything collapses. The spirit here is precisely reason, the will, your inner citadel. The educational value of this saying is the redefinition of failure. Is not when you fall. Failure is when you fall and choose to remain there. You have failed in business. You have failed in a relationship. Good. That is the tuition fee for wisdom. The pain is real, but losing one's spirit is a choice. The true master is one who knows how to stand up, brush off the dust, learn from the fall, and continue walking with a spirit even more resolute. We have seen that adversity is the forge of the soul, but how is it that the same event causes one person to collapse while another becomes stronger? This brings us to the heart of Stoic philosophy. Strength lies not in events, but in our perception of them, This is the cornerstone, the master key that liberates us from the shackles of suffering. If group 1 was about facing the fire, then group 2 is about realizing that it is we who decide how hot it is. Let us begin with the most important maxim, perhaps the most important in all of Stoic philosophy, a saying repeated by both Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. Men are disturbed not by events, but by the views which they take of them. Read this sentence again. Let it permeate your mind. This is humanity's greatest declaration of independence. It divides the universe into two parts. Events, external things. It rains. You are stuck in traffic. Someone speaks ill of you. You fall ill. And 2, your view, judgment. Internal things. The rain ruined my day. Being stuck in traffic is a disaster. How dare they say that I am offended? Being ill is the worst thing. Seneca states that it is not one that causes suffering, but 2. The rain is simply water falling from the sky. It is neither good nor bad. It is a disaster. Only when you judge it to be a disaster. Someone speaks ill of you. Those are just sounds from their mouth or characters on a screen. It only becomes an insult when you assent to the judgment that this is bad and it is harming me. The educational value of this sentence is absolute liberation. It hands back to you 100% control over your own happiness. You cannot control events, but you can always control your view of them. Between the stimulus, the event, and the response, the emotion, there is always a space. In that space lies your freedom and power to choose your view. Are you facing difficulty? That event is not causing you suffering. It is your view, your judgment that this is terrible, I cannot bear it, that is causing your suffering. Change the view, and you will change your reality. From this foundation, Seneca explains the source of a great deal of our pain. We often suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you understand that the view is the problem, you realize that our view or our imagination is a relentless machine for producing suffering. Consider an example. You just sent an important email to your boss and you see read but not replied. Reality: an email has not been answered. Imagination: my boss is angry with me. I must have written something wrong. I am going to be reprimanded. I am going to be fired. I won't be able to pay rent. I will be out on the street. Do you see? Reality is just a neutral fact, causing no pain. But your imagination has created a catastrophic scenario and caused you to suffer, to be anxious, to have a racing heart. You are suffering in imagination. Its educational value is a call for a reality check. When you feel anxious or angry, pause and ask, what is the reality that is actually happening, and what is the story I am telling myself? Separate the fact from the judgment. You will find that 90% of your pain comes from the story, and you have the full authority to rewrite that story. Seneca offers another variation emphasizing fear. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. He is emphasizing an important point: frightened, a mental state. Hurt is a state of reality, often physical. Our mind, through imagination, constantly frightens us with terrible prospects. We experience the pain of a potential catastrophe hundreds of times in our minds, while it may never happen in reality. A person who fears public speaking, how much are they hurt? Not at all. But how much are they frightened? A great deal. They imagine stumbling over their words, being laughed at, being judged. They are suffering from imagination. The educational value here is to recognize fear as a signal, but not as a prophet. When you are frightened, do not immediately believe it. Confront it. Oh, fear, thank you for trying to protect me. But what is the worst that can really happen? And can I handle it? Often the answer is, it is not as bad as I imagine, and yes, I can handle it. And finally, summarizing the power of the mind, Seneca declares, Such is the power of the mind. It cannot be conquered. This is the inner citadel that Marcus Aurelius spoke of. Your body can be imprisoned. Your possessions can be taken away. Your reputation can be destroyed. But there is one thing, one single thing, that no person or power in the world can touch unless you permit it. That is your reason, your faculty of choice, prohairesis. You can be thrown into prison, but no one can force you to despair. You can be tortured, but no one can force you to renounce your dignity. You can be humiliated, but no one can force you to feel inferior. The educational value of this saying is a reminder of your ultimate sovereignty in any circumstance. No matter how dire, you always have one choice. How will you respond? Will you let the circumstance define you? Or will you use the circumstance to express your virtue? Your mind, when trained, when it understands this principle, truly is invincible. If we have established that our view and imagination are the sources of suffering, and that we possess an unconquerable mind, what then is the next step? It is to learn to master the things that trigger those false views, our desires and our fears. This brings us to the art of attaining tranquility. Peace, or apatheia, in Greek is not a state of lazy insensibility. It is a state of steadfastness, of a mind undisturbed by insatiable desires or irrational fears. It is the result of an internal war that has been won, and the primary enemy in that war is desire. Seneca begins with a radical redefinition of wealth. The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. Our society defines wealth by addition: more houses, more cars, more money, more power. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome in his time, says instead that true wealth is subtraction, wanting less. Why? Because when you desire, you are placing yourself in a passive position. You are saying, my happiness depends on acquiring that thing X. You have surrendered control of your happiness to an external. If you do not get it, you suffer. If you do get it, you worry about losing it. And soon you desire thing Y. It is a vicious cycle. The person who is poor in desires is one who finds sufficiency within himself and what is presently available. His happiness does not depend on anything external, therefore he cannot be threatened. He is the richest man. This is a revolution in thought. Instead of striving to work harder to have more, practice wanting less. Every time you refuse an unnecessary desire, you are making yourself wealthier. This is a wealth that no economic crisis can ever take away. He emphasizes this point by inverting the problem defining poverty. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. This is a powerful blow against materialism. You may live in a small house, drive an old car, but if you are completely content with what you have, you are wealthy. Conversely, you may be in a mansion, own many supercars, but if your mind is constantly busy craving more, a yacht, another mansion, then you are the one who is truly poor. Yawa. Because you are living in a state of perpetual lack. Your mind is always in a state of not enough. That is the definition of spiritual poverty. This saying is a reminder to check your spiritual bank account. Whether you are rich or poor is not determined by a bank statement, but by the gap between what you have and what you want. The fastest way to become wealthy is to close that gap, not by accumulating more, but by craving less. But desire is only one side of the coin. The other side is fear, especially the fear of not attaining our desires. Seneca offers advice that sounds extreme, but is profoundly deep. You will cease to fear when you cease to hope. This sentence is often misunderstood. The hope Seneca speaks of here is not positive optimism. Everything will be fine. Hope here is the anxious attachment to a specific outcome that we cannot control. I hope I win the lottery. I hope she will love me. I hope I never get sick. It is this clinging hope that creates fear. When you hope she loves you, you simultaneously fear she will reject you. When you hope for a promotion, you simultaneously fear you will fail. They are two sides of the same coin called dependency on the outcome. To cease to hope means do your absolute best, act with virtue, but relinquish your attachment to the result. Accept whatever happens with equanimity. When you are no longer attached to any specific outcome, what is left to fear? Shift from hope, anxious attachment to intention, purposeful action and acceptance, readiness for any result. Work as hard as you can and then let the universe decide the outcome. Your peace lies in the effort, not in the result. This acceptance is the key. True peace is found in accepting the worst. This is a combination of the practice of hardship, group 1, and ceasing to hope, group 3. Most of our anxiety comes from trying to fight, flee, or deny a terrible prospect. We fear losing our job, fear a breakup, fear death. Seneca says, very well, walk directly into that fear. Accept it. Sit down and imagine the worst case scenario. You lose your job. Then what? You will have to cut expenses. You will have to find a new job. It will be very hard. But will you die? No. Will you survive? Yes. Will you learn something from it? Assuredly. The moment you truly accept the worst case scenario, the fear loses its power. A monster hiding in the shadows. It is just an event that you, as a Stoic, can handle. When the fear dissolves, what remains is peace. Do not run from fear. Walk through it. Confront the worst prospect with reason. Accept it as a possibility and trust in your ability to cope. Liberation is on the other side of acceptance. All these practices, mastering desire, relinquishing, clinging hope, accepting the worst, lead to one ultimate goal. To be calm is the highest achievement of the self. In a world full of chaos, full of people screaming, arguing, worrying, and panicking, the ability to be calm is a superpower. Note the word achievement. Calmness is not something given. It is not indifference or laziness. It is an achievement, the result of daily, hourly training. It is the fruit of constantly guarding the mind, challenging judgments, controlling desires, and acting according to reason. Set calmness as your highest goal. Not happiness, not excitement, not wealth, but calmness. Because from calmness, all wise decisions, all right actions, and a meaningful life will arise. It is the pinnacle of self-mastery, and perhaps the shortest path to achieving that calm and mastering desire is to practice this. Nothing is more to be treasured than a grateful heart. A gratitude is the most potent antidote to craving more. You cannot simultaneously feel grateful for what you have and feel dissatisfied because of what you lack. Those two states cannot coexist in the mind. When you crave a new car, your mind is in a state of lack. When you are grateful for the old car that gets you to work safely every day, your mind is in a state of enough. Gratitude is a conscious choice to focus on abundance instead of scarcity. Make gratitude a habit. Every morning when you wake, before doing anything else, list 3 things you are grateful for. It can be simple. Grateful that I woke up. I am grateful for the air I breathe. I am grateful for one more day to try. This practice will completely change how you view life and will bring immediate peace. We have learned to forge strength from adversity, to master our perceptions, and to find peace by mastering desire. But there is one final great enemy of this peace, a monster that our mind relentlessly creates anxiety about the future. This is where our imagination group 2 truly runs rampant. The majority of our lives is spent not in the present, but in a hypothetical future filled with catastrophes. Seneca viewed this as one of humanity's most self-destructive behaviors. He begins with a clear diagnosis. The mind anxious about future events is a miserable one. This is not advice, it is a statement of fact. Being anxious is not planning. Planning is a rational act. It is likely to rain, so I will bring an umbrella. Anxiety is an emotional state. Oh no, what if it rains heavily? I'll be soaked, then I'll catch a cold, then I'll miss the meeting. An anxious mind is a mind that is miserable, not will be miserable. But right now, you are experiencing the negative emotions of a bad event, even though that event may never happen. In essence, you are torturing yourself. Learn to differentiate between planning. Rational occurs in the present, and anxiety, emotional, occurs in the future. When you catch yourself worrying, recognize that you are making yourself miserable unnecessarily. Seneca continues to stress the absurdity of this behavior with simple logic. He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. This is clear, is it not? Let us assume the worst thing you fear does happen. You will suffer when it happens. That is unavoidable. But by worrying about it beforehand, you are choosing to suffer twice. You pay for the pain in cash when it happens, and you also pay on credit with high interest when you worry about it. You suffer before it is necessary. You are suffering more than is necessary. This is a waste of energy, a waste of emotion, and a waste of life. This saying is a simple calculation. Do not multiply your own suffering. Tell yourself, if that happens, I will deal with it then. The strength to cope will come then. Now I will not waste my strength suffering a pain that does not yet exist. And so what is the antidote to this disease of future anxiety? Seneca offers a formula for happiness. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. To enjoy the present, frui presentibus. This is a Stoic enjoyment, an appreciation, a mindfulness, a deep gratitude for this very moment. It is the recognition that the present is all we have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain. But the second clause is the crux: without anxious dependence on the future. You cannot enjoy the present if half your mind is in next week worrying about a presentation. You cannot enjoy your dinner if you are worried about what you will eat tomorrow. True happiness is a mind that is fully present. It requires the renunciation of anxious dependence on what is to come. Happiness is not a distant goal in the future. It is a practice right now. Are you reading these lines? Just read. Do not think about what you will do next. Feel the weight of the device in your hands. Notice your breathing. There, in that very moment, you are enjoying the present. That is happiness. Seneca concludes this group with a command, a decisive call to action. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. The whole future lies in uncertainty. This is an irrefutable truth. You can plan, but you cannot know for certain. an accident, an illness, an unexpected opportunity, anything can change everything. So what is the rational response to this uncertainty? Panic, trying to control everything. The only rational response is live immediately, vive immediate. What does it mean to live immediately? It means do not postpone your life. Do not say, I will be happy when I retire. Do not say, I will pursue my passion when I have enough money, because when may never come. Immediately is the only time you have. Love immediately. Forgive immediately. Live virtuously immediately. This is the antidote to procrastination. Death can come at any moment. Uncertainty is the rule. Do not waste this precious present moment worrying about an uncertain future or regretting an unchangeable past. Live now. Now that we have pulled our minds back to the present, the next question is, what do we do here? Living in the present is not a passive state. For a Roman like Seneca, it is a call to action, courageous and conscious action. Virtue is not an idea, it is an action. The strength and peace we have forged are not to be kept in a glass case. They are to be used on the battlefield of daily life. Seneca begins by unmasking the illusion of difficulty. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that they are difficult. This is one of the sharpest psychological observations. We look at a task, starting a new project, having a difficult conversation, learning a new skill, and we feel it is difficult. We are paralyzed by that difficulty, and therefore we do not dare to begin. Seneca says, we have mistaken the sequence. The difficulty is not an inherent property of the task. It is a product of our fear and hesitation. It is precisely our not daring that magnifies the difficulty tenfold. The moment we dare to act, the moment we break the large task into small steps and take the first one, the difficulty begins to dissolve. The antidote to fear is action. Are you feeling something is too difficult? Stop thinking about it. Do it. Take the smallest possible step. You will find that the action itself will dispel the illusion of difficulty. This action, the action taken despite fear, has a name: courage. And courage has a great reward. The courageous man is the free man. What is freedom in the Stoic sense? It is inner freedom. It is not being a slave to externals. If you are afraid of losing money, afraid of being criticized, afraid of failure, then you are a slave to those things. Fear commands you, and you obey. Don't say that you will be hated. Don't try that you will fail. The courageous man is one who acts according to reason, according to what he believes is right despite the fear. By acting, he breaks the chains of fear. He is no longer controlled by fear. Therefore, he is free. Freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. Freedom is not being compelled by your own fears or desires to do things contrary to your reason and your dignity. Courage is the path to that freedom, but courage is not fearlessness. That is a disastrous misunderstanding. Seneca clarifies, the brave man also knows fear, but he still charges into battle. This is a deeply humane truth. If you know no fear, you are not courageous. You are merely reckless, a fool. Fear is a normal biological response. It signals danger to us. The courageous man feels the fear. His heart also pounds. His palms also sweat. The difference is this: the coward lets fear make the decision. The courageous man acknowledges the fear, but then lets reason make the decision. Reason says, this is right, this is necessary. And so he still charges into battle, the battle of the meeting, the battle of the confrontation, the battle of honesty. This saying is incredibly comforting. If you are afraid, it does not mean you are a coward. It only means you are human. Your courage is defined not by the absence of fear, but by your action in spite of its presence. And sometimes the greatest battle is life itself. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Seneca, who endured chronic asthma, which he called rehearsing death, and lived under the erratic rule of the tyrant, Nero understood this better than anyone. For a person struggling with chronic physical pain, with mental illness, or with an inconsolable loss, the battlefield is not far away. The battlefield is their very bed in the morning. Charging into battle is the simple act deciding to get up, deciding to eat breakfast, deciding to continue for one more day. This is the deepest validation for those who are suffering in silence. If you are in a dark place and all you can do is carry on, know that this is not weakness. It is an extraordinary act of courage. Once we have acted with courage, living in the present, we must confront a finite resource time. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. This is the common complaint: I don't have time. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, counters, your life is not short. It is long enough to do the greatest things. The problem is that you have wasted it. What do we waste time on? Worrying about the future. As we said, regretting the past, being drawn into trivial gossip, pursuing useless desires, working in drudgery just to wait for the weekend. Time is your most precious asset. It is non-renewable. Become a miser with your time. Conduct a time audit. Where is your time going? Is it being invested in what truly matters? Family, learning, health, virtue? Or is it leaking into meaninglessness? Reclaim your time. That is reclaiming your life. So how do we live instead of waste? Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. This is an extremely powerful mental model. Instead of seeing life as one long 80-year stretch, see it as a series of little lives lasting 24 hours. Every morning is a birth. You have a brand new day, a new chance. Every evening is a death. You go to sleep ending that life. What is the benefit? If yesterday you failed, if you acted cowardly, if you wasted time, that life is over. You do not need to carry its burden into today. Today is a new life. Your only job is live today's life well. Be courageous today. Learn today. Love today. Do not be crushed by the past or overwhelmed by the future. Focus on winning today. If you live each separate day well, you will have a great life. We have come a long journey from forging strength in adversity, mastering perception, finding peace, focusing on the present, and acting with courage. Now we arrive at the final questions. For what? What is the purpose of all this? This is the overview, the big picture. Why must we train all these things? The Stoic answer is to live a meaningful, purposeful, and virtuous life in accordance with nature. Purpose is essential. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. A ship is adrift on the sea, an east wind blows. Is that a good or bad wind? You cannot answer unless you know where the ship wants to go. If it wants to reach a port to the west, it is a favorable wind. If it wants to reach a port to the east, it is a terrible wind. Your life is the same. The winds of events, luck, misfortune, opportunities, challenges are constantly blowing. Are they favorable or not? That depends entirely on whether you have a port. What is your port? What is your life's purpose? If your port is wealth, then losing your job is a disastrous wind. But if your port is to become a resilient and virtuous person, then losing your job, a headwind, is actually a favorable opportunity for you to practice courage and resourcefulness. You must define your port. What is your ultimate purpose? For the Stoic, that port is always virtue. When you have a clear purpose, every event in life, good or bad, can be used to bring you closer to that purpose. Once we know our purpose, we must accept our role. Life is like a play. It is not its length, but the excellence of the acting that matters. This is a classic Stoic metaphor. Fate, or logos, is the script writer and caster. You do not get to choose where you were born, who your parents are, what you look like, or how long you live, its length. What is your role? A son, a father, a teacher, a patient. You do not choose the role, so what does matter? The excellence of the acting. Your job is to take the role you have been assigned and play it to the best of your ability. If your role is a king, be a just and merciful king. If your role is a street sweeper, be the most dedicated and cheerful street sweeper. If your role is a patient, be a patient who is resilient and dignified. Stop complaining about your role. Stop comparing your role to someone else's. Accept it and pour all your energy into playing that role well. Greatness lies not in the role, it lies in how you play it. But how does one act well? When faced with chance, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This saying, often attributed to Seneca, refutes the notion of passive luck. Luck is not something that randomly falls on your head. It is an intersection. Opportunity. This is the external part, the part of fate, which you do not control. The door opens. The wind blows. Preparation. This is the internal part. The part you control 100%. It is everything we have discussed. Training the mind, learning skills, maintaining health, living virtuously. Luck is when you, with all your preparation, are in the right place at the right time to seize the opportunity. If you are not prepared, the opportunity will pass you by unnoticed, or you will not have the strength to grasp it. Do not sit and wait for luck. Focus on preparation. Train yourself every day. Learn constantly. Become strong and resilient. In doing so, you do not wait for luck. You create luck by being ready for any opportunity. But life is not just opportunity. It is also tragedy. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. At first, this sounds utterly pessimistic, but it is not. This is a profound irony and a call for perspective. We often weep over small things, spilling coffee, missing the bus, someone speaking ill of us. We act as if this is the worst catastrophe in the world. Seneca, with a shrug, says, "You weep over that. Do you realize that the whole of human existence, its fragility, its brevity, the fact that we love and then lose, is already one great tragedy? By accepting that the whole of life is a beautiful and challenging tragedy, we suddenly gain the strength to deal with its parts. The small troubles become what they truly are, small. Keep perspective. When you face a trouble, zoom out. Look at it in the context of your entire life, in the context of human history. You will see it is not worth your tears and your loss of calm. Save your energy for what matters. and what matters most. After all this internal training, all this strength and peace for what Seneca concludes with the greatest Stoic answer: wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. This is the ultimate purpose. Your strength is not just for you. Your peace is not just for you to enjoy. We do not train to become cold stone statues detached from the world. We train to become strong so that we may serve others. We train to acquire tranquility so that we may help others when they are panicking. Stoicism at its heart is a philosophy of society, cosmopolitanism. We are members of a vast human community. Your inner strength must be expressed externally as action, and the noblest action is kindness. You have trained to be unshakable, good. Now use that steadfastness to be a support for others. You have learned acceptance, good. Now use that acceptance to be empathetic toward the faults of others. Wherever you see a human being, a colleague, a stranger, a family member, you have an opportunity to practice the highest virtue. That is the purpose of it all. Today's journey may not transform your life overnight, but if even one line from Seneca touched you, if one idea helped you breathe a little deeper, stand a little steadier, or see your struggles with less fear, then that is already a beginning. Remember, each day is a new life. Even if you stumbled today, even if you feel lost, even if the answers haven't come yet, tomorrow you get to begin again, stronger, calmer, and a little wiser. Seneca never promised an easy life. He only showed us how to become resilient enough that life cannot break us. And if this video brought you strength, peace, or even just a moment of clarity, share it with someone who might be searching for a small light, just like you. Thank you for walking with me all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next Stoic journey. See you again on the path of tranquility, courage, and wisdom.